Great. So welcome everybody. And as I said, it's hot here. So I was feeling a not too dynamic class, but still, you know, we can work. And my plan was that we would work towards the wheel. Which doesn't mean we have to do the wheel. The wheel is urdhva dhanurasana, and it's one of the kind of classic yoga pictures that you see. It's where you're in the bridge, you're just on your hands and your feet, and you're making your whole body's making an arch. So it's quite a strong posture, and it's not for everybody. But we'll do a practice that prepares the body for that posture. And even if you're not going to go into that posture, you know, I'm going to obviously, as always, give lots of modifications. It's going to just prepare your body for back bending. The difference about the wheel compared to other back bends is that you need strong arms. So you need all the usual stuff for back bends. You need chest openers, thigh, hip openers, strong back. But you push up on your arms, and a lot of people struggle with this posture, partly because the upper back is neck and shoulders are still tight, or the legs aren't strong enough, but also because they just don't have the upper body strength. So we'll work a little bit with a kind of blend and balance of upper body strength and opening. Okay, so we will work, but we'll do it more with those static held postures rather than a very dynamic flow. Okay, this is the plan. So let us start. Let's just start in a child's pose, which is kind of like the opposite of downward dog. Downward dog. The wheel is like the opposite of a back bend. I tell you what, the hot weather does definitely make my brain less sharp. So excuse that. Things you might need during the class are a strap and a block. We might use a block or a strap, so just have it handy. But just for now, just settle yourself down into child's pose. Wide knee. I'm doing wide knee with my toes touching knees wide, but you could have knees together. And you could have your hands back by your feet, shoulders dropping, or just gently taking the hands out in front, maybe with a bend in the elbow. We'll just use this posture. If this is a really not comfortable posture, then you could always just turn onto your back and just hug the knees into the chest, which gives you a very similar shape. And we're just going to, before we go into all this preparation for back bends and opening the front body, we're just going to start with the opposite, where you really feel the chest close down and that the spine is actually moving in the opposite direction. It's flexing forward. Just continue to breathe into this shape, breathing into the lower back. Just using this posture as our settling in, our arrival pose, where we notice where we're at today, what kind of a day we've had, how we're feeling in this moment, in the body, in the mind, in the emotional body, and also noticing your response to when I tell you we're going to work with the wheel, the bridge, back bending. Is there a great response, or is there a resistance? Just observing your relationship with stronger back bends. No judgment. Take a couple more slow deep breaths here. And then at the end of your next exhale, when you're ready, we're just going to come straight into some kind of a harder posture. So come forward, so you're on your hands and your knees, but your shoulders are directly above the wrists. So sometimes we're slightly behind, but we want to have the joints stacked here, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists. And then just step one leg out behind you. And just see how this feels. We're going to lift the belly up towards the spine, firm that right thigh, so the leg that's extended behind you is strong. We want to strengthen the legs and the upper body for back bending, and press the floor away. So we could just kind of sag. You see I'm kind of sagging here, and my shoulder blades look like wings, or we press and it's like we almost dome the upper back, and there's a slight broadening between the shoulder blades. This is what we want to be doing as we move into the full plank. So we're kind of in a half plank here. And then either stay here and swap legs, or let the left foot join the right, so you're in full plank. So we're coming straight into one of our kind of static upper body strength building postures. So we're focusing on the arms. So spread the fingertips and really press the floor away with the hands. Now, if your wrists are weak or you've got any issues, you can be on the forearms, come onto the elbows. We're going to do that later in the class anyway. Breathe fully, keep those legs strong, keep the tailbone long, press the floor away, feel space between the shoulder blades, and then just rest the knees back down and just take that child's pose again, maybe lifting the wrists so you're up on the fingertips. And just take a couple of breaths here. So we're going to repeat that, but this time on the elbows. So straight in with the work today. So bring your elbows down. So same thing, stacking the joints, the shoulders are directly above the elbows this time. And then again, just start with one leg. Notice how and one leg it's nigh impossible to get the hips in line with the body. So but before you add the other leg or swap sides, again, press. This time we're pressing through the hands, the forearms and the elbows to get the same effect in the upper back. So tune into your shoulder blades. We don't want to feel like we're collapsing. The shoulder blades are like lifting up like wings. We want to feel like they're stretching apart and the upper back is almost domed. And then again, swap sides with the legs or let the left foot join the right. And now you can drop the hips and we can take forearm plank. All the same work, really work the legs. If you feel quite comfortable here, you can really challenge your legs and lift one leg. So all of the work is happening in one leg and lower, lift the other leg for a moment without lifting the hips. This is optional and lower. And then we're going to drop the hips down and come onto, say on the forearms, into the Sphinx. So you can take the hands slightly further forward, elbows still underneath the shoulders, maybe just in front. And now we're working with the upper back muscles. So we're almost pulling the floor towards us here to create this stretch in the front body, but also drawing the shoulder blades back and down. So we're still tuning into the upper back really. And now we're working the back muscles to draw the shoulder blades down towards each other, rather than just letting the shoulders come forward and the shoulder blades spread. So now we want them to come together. Press the pubic bone down and gently press the toenails down. One final thing to focus on here is see if you can connect to your core awareness. I'm going to mention this a few times. It's harder to connect to the core when we're in a back bend, but it really takes your back bending to another level when you can feel your core awareness. So see if you can activate the pelvic floor, press the pubic bone down and see if you can get a sense of deep core muscles switching on even in this back bend. And then exhale, just lower everything down for a moment. Just rest the forehead on the back of the hands, just wobble the hips. Take a couple of breaths. Great. And then we're actually just going to come onto our back. So you can kind of just do a bit of a nifty roll. You'll probably roll off the mat like I just did, but come onto the mat and have a block and a strap handy. Just have them close by. But just come to lie on your back and bring the feet close into the buttocks and the feet parallel. So I was reading an article actually that said it's okay if the feet splay out to the side. You know, there's always this cue to parallel the feet. But if you find that really hard, just rest in comfort that it's not going to do you any harm. But over time, we do want to bring the toes in, the heels out. Okay, and then we're just going to start to do pelvic tilts. So as you inhale, lift the tailbone. We're only moving the lowest few vertebrae of the back here. So we're not coming all the way up into the bridge. And then exhale, place the lower back down. And at the end of the exhale, we come onto the front of the pelvis. So there's a bit of a rock forwards. I'm arching the lower back. I'm just going to keep that pelvic tilt going backwards and forwards. Inhaling, pressing through the feet, lifting the tailbone, the last few vertebrae of the spine, and exhale, placing them back down and rocking onto the front of the pelvis. So you should feel your torso, your upper body, just gently shunting back and forth. So your head, as you exhale, actually moves down the mat towards your feet. As you inhale, it kind of slides back up the foot. That's how you know you're kind of getting this moving front. Just tune into your lower back. And now we're going to keep that going, but just focus on your core again. So it's going to be easier as you exhale and press the sacrum down to feel the pelvic floor contracting and the lower belly drawing in. But see if you can keep that awareness as you then come into the inhale and onto the front of the pelvis, so your belly's at a stretch position. But see if you can retain that core awareness connection. This is something we need to practice because it's hard to keep the connection in the back bend. So don't worry if you lose it. Don't worry if you don't feel it. We just begin that journey of trying. Okay. The next time you come up, you can come up to the supported bridge if you feel prepped enough to do so. We haven't really prepared yet. So only if the body says okay do we come higher. If not, you're just going to do a few more pelvic tilts. But otherwise, we're just going to start preparing the body to get used to this shape, this front body opening. Just breathe into the front body. We're not doing a super intense one yet. Just a couple of breaths more. Feeling the legs work, and then slowly lower the spine down. So we want to be focusing on strong legs, core connection, strength in the upper body, and openness in the upper body. So we're just going to work with core connection again with abduction. So take your block, slide it between the thighs, and squeeze the block. When we squeeze, when we draw the thighs toward each other, we open the lower back, which we need for back bending, and we activate our deep core muscles and the inner seam of our legs. So this is all super important for the wheel and other deep back bends. Okay, so we'll squeeze that block, and then we'll take the feet off the floor, keep squeezing, take the arms out to the side, maybe cactus arms, elbows in line with the shoulders, palms up, or out to the side, palms down. And we're just going to do that side to side core awareness movement. So exhale the knees to the right, keeping the left shoulder and back shoulder blade on the floor. Inhale to the center. Try to keep squeezing the block if you can as you exhale over to the other side, over to the left. Inhale back to the center. So we're toning the obliques here, connecting to the core, especially if we're squeezing the block. And this is all great preparation for back bending. It might seem strange that we're preparing for back bending by building core strength, but we cannot fully open the body into deep back bends until we have the strength in the legs and the core stability to hold the lower half of the body where it needs to be, so that the upper half of the body can feel safe to open. So it's like the foundational work. For the next 1 or 2 rounds, if you want to make it harder, straighten the legs, but try to make sure the upper back doesn't move, or just keep the knees bent. We don't need to go super far over to each side. We want to use our core strength, not momentum. And then next time you come back to the center, release the block. Or just take a moment, and you can keep the block there because I'm just going to use it one more exercise here. But you can just take a moment to relax the belly. And then again, we've got the block between the thighs. We're going to lift the feet. And this time we're going to just have the hands. If you want to make it easier, have the hands by the side. If you want to challenge yourself a bit more, have your arms overhead. So we're going to squeeze the block, and we're going to inhale with the back on the floor. And as you exhale, you're going to come up. So lifting the chin and the chest, bringing the hands forward. And then inhale, come down, either arms by the side or overhead. Exhale, squeeze up, keep squeezing the block. We're going to see if we can do this 10 times. Stop when you need. Exhale, squeeze up. I think this is 3. You can count yourself if you're in a different rhythm to me. Exhale, squeeze up for 4. Inhale down. Exhale, squeezing up for 5. Inhale down. If you need to stop, just take rest. Exhale, come up for 6. Squeeze the block. Inhale down. Exhale, come up for 7. You're going to feel this tomorrow, possibly. Inhale down. Exhale, squeeze up for 8. Inhale down. And 2 more if you can in your own time. Again, we're not using momentum, we're using core control. Squeeze that block. And then at the end of your 10th, relax. Just take the constructive rest pose for a moment. So feet wide, knees resting against each other, or if the knees don't touch, have that block between the knees and just let the knees rest on the block. And just relax the belly, breathe into the belly. As I said, just because we're not flowing dynamically and swiftly this evening doesn't mean we're not working. Just take a couple of resting breaths here, really releasing the belly. And then whilst we're on the floor, I want us to kind of open all the areas that need to be open for back bending, as well as focusing on the strength. So I'm going to open the side body. So just take the arms overhead and stretch yourself out long in central alignment, and then take your left foot, slide it off the mat to the left, so it's just off the mat. You can hook your right ankle on top of the left, or just squeeze the inner legs together. And then we need to kind of shuffle the torso over. So I kind of use the back of my head like an extra limb, press down so I can lift up the shoulders and gradually make the torso move towards the left. So if you look down at your body from above, you'll be in the shape of a banana or a crescent moon. Reaching the arms overhead, or interlacing the fingers and pressing the hands out, or holding opposite elbow. Make sure the right buttock and the sacrum and the right shoulder blade is on the floor. And just feel this as a stretch for the side body. So this is important when we want to back bend. We want to keep the torso as long as possible. Including side body, when we have tight side bodies, which many of us do, A, we can't breathe properly, and B, we're just constricted and restricted. Back bends feel more congested. One more breath. And then to come out, just step the right foot to the center and the left foot, and bring the torso back to the center. Just check you're centrally aligned, and then go to the other side. So take your right foot off the mat, left foot joins it, maybe crossing the left foot on top of the right. And then just however works for you, moving the torso, like I say, I'm using the back of my head to lift up, over to the right, make that banana shape. Do the same thing you did on the other side with the arms, like interlacing the hands or reaching behind or holding opposite elbows. If you're holding the opposite elbow, see if you can hold the opposite elbow on top. Same if you interlace the fingers, put the other little finger on top. Left buttock, left shoulder blade are touching the floor and sacrum. If they're not, come out of the stretch a little bit. Just take one or two more deep breaths aside. And then unhook the left foot, come back to the center, everything into central alignment. And then when you're ready, we're going to just come onto one side and come up to our hands and knees. So take your time and find your way to tabletop. Great, so we've got hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. So we're going to cat-cow, and we're going to use it as, again, really focusing on your core awareness and trying to keep that connection even when you come into the cow, which is a back bend. Okay, so as you cow, as you go into your inhale, tuck the toes under, arch the spine, so drop the belly, shoulders back and look up, see if you can feel your core connection. And then as you exhale, touch the tops of the feet down and really connect to the core here. So draw the pelvic floor up, belly to the spine, and then see if you can retain some of that as you come into the cow. So it's really tricky. It's taken me years to get a sense of core connection in the back bend, especially a deep back bend, but it is possible. It's just very subtle. So just keep that going, moving the feet positions as well. So in the cat, where it should be easy to connect to your core, you're on the tops of the feet, and when you come to the cow, you tuck the toes under, and you just keep your awareness in the core, the pelvic floor. If you are familiar with bandhas, you can also work with Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandhas, but especially Mula Bandha, and keep connection to Mula Bandha in the back bend. This is how subtle it is. No idea what I'm talking about, but just continue with pelvic floor awareness and move it to spine. Okay, coming to a neutral spine at the end of your next exhale. And again, just the same as we just did on our backs, we're going to extend the side body. So keep the hips where they are over the knees and stretch the arms out and drop the head. If it's comfortable for you to do so, melt the chest to the floor. So it's like this curve in the spine. This is great for opening up the back of the shoulders for back bending and opening the chest. But if it feels too much for some people, it's just too much on the shoulder girdle Be a bit more like downward dog, be a bit more strong, with the back more straight. And you're still getting an opening here. But we're using it to open the shoulders and the upper back and the chest, but also you might feel it as a lengthener of the side waist, side body. It's gravity assisted. So it tractions the spine, lengthens the side waist. Couple more breaths. And then press through the hands, slowly walk the hands back in. We're going to come into downward dog and have your block handy. We're going to work again a little bit with the legs in our standing postures today. So tucking the toes, lifting the hips, sending the hips up and back. Just establish your downward dog for a moment without your block. Just spreading the toes, spreading the fingers. And bend the knees if you need, but really work today to push the floor away with your hands and send the hips up and back. So we really want to be opening and tractioning the spine as much as possible here, because this is what lengthens the back and the shoulders, opens the shoulders and strengthens them at the same time. So we're pressing actively down through the hands at the same time as we're trying to get as much length in the upper body as possible by sending those hips up and back. So even if we need to bend the knees to do so, feeding the spine long, the shoulders stretching as well as strengthening. And then from here, just bring the knees down for a moment. Take your block, slide it between the thighs, so you'll have to bring your knees in a little bit, maybe your feet in a little bit. Again, if this is too much for your wrists, do this on your elbows and dolphin instead, but then come back to the downward dog. So your feet are probably going to be more or less together now, or closer together, and squeeze the block. And see if you can feel as you squeeze how this hollows out the lower belly, connects us to our deep core, and maybe you get a sense of how it's opening the lower back, the sacral area. You may or may not feel this. It is doing it. But it is subtle, so you might not actually feel it. But just tune in to that area of the body. Take one more breath. And then again, if you need to come onto the forearms, do, but we're going to come back to that plank. So here we are again. You might need to walk the hands forward so that when you open up into the plank now with the block, your shoulders are over the wrists. Bring the knees down if this is all too much for you, but keep the shoulders above the elbows, whether you're on forearms or hands. Squeeze that block like you've never squeezed it before. Lift the belly, draw on the pelvic floor, one more breath. Great. And then bring the knees down, release the block. We're going to come down to a back bend, so lower the chin in the chest. Slide the legs out and then inhale, come up to a cobra, just a baby cobra for now. So we're not using the hands, we're using the back muscles. We're drawing the shoulders back, so we should feel the back muscles working again. And press the pubic bone down, press the tops of the feet down lightly, and see if you can connect to your core. See if you can draw up on Mula Bandha or draw up on your pelvic floor and draw your lower belly back to your spine. And don't forget to breathe. And then either just come straight back to child's pose or downward dog from here, or take a deeper back bend and seeing if you can keep that connection even in a deeper back bend, and then come back downward dog. Or child's pose. So we're going to start to open the front body in various ways now. So from downward dog or tabletop, we're going to step the right foot forward between the hands and lower the left knee to the floor, come down to the top of the left foot. Sinking those hips. Keep the fingertips on the floor if you wish, or inhale, stretch the hands up. So we're in our crescent moon, opening the front of that left hip, left thigh, preparing the back bends. Breathe deep. Just for the last couple of breaths, bend the elbows, bring the thumbs to touch the back of the neck, and maybe even just lean the head back onto the lower arms and lift the space behind the heart. And then take it into a twist, left elbow or left hand to the outside of right knee. If it's the elbow, palms together, look behind you. If it's the hand, just stretch your right hand up. So twists are great for starting to warm up the spine, mobilize the spine, ready for back bending. And then at the end of the exhale, turn to the front, And just from here, you could just take your right knee back to join the left if you wish, maybe take a child's pose, or you can have another opportunity for a plank, and exhale to lower, and inhale to a back bend, focusing on your core and your pelvic floor, and exhale to downward dog. So skip the flowy bits if you want. I might skip them myself here in boiling hot Portugal, but they're there if you want them. Otherwise, you could just be in child's pose or downward dog. Okay, so coming to the other side, when you're ready, left foot comes between the hands, release the knee down, right knee down, top of the right foot down, sink those hips low. Keep the fingertips on the floor if you prefer, or inhale, stretch up. You come to the right thigh opening, right hip flexor opening. Really take your breath all the way up into the upper back, this area that we really need to open for the wheel, the shoulder blades, between the shoulder blades and the shoulders themselves. And then bend the elbows, let the thumb touch the back of the neck, maybe lean the head back into the thumbs or the lower arms, the wrists, lift the space behind the heart, breathe all the way up to the upper back, the collarbones, and then turn it into a twist. So right elbow or right hand to the outside of left knee. If it's the elbow, palms together, look over your left shoulder. Breathe deep, or if it's the hand, reach the left hand back, but still looking over the left shoulder. Beautiful. Turn to the front, release the hands down, and again, either just slip that left knee back onto tabletop or child's pose, or here we are in the planks. Squeeze your imaginary block as you lower down, keep the legs super strong. Inhale, see if we can keep that core integrity into a back bend, and exhale into downward dog or child's pose. Okay, release the neck here, squeeze your imaginary block. And at the end of your exhale, look forward, walk, step, or jump the feet to the hands. Inhale, look up and lengthen, and just pause in this like halfway forward fold. So you might want to bring the hands onto the shins, you might also want to bend the knees. But we want to feel like, again, we're lengthening the spine, drawing the shoulders back. So it's almost a back bend here, opening the chest forward between. It's like you're shining the chest forward between the arms. One more breath. This is a different way of getting a forward fold. Then exhale, drop the head, so we're much more the rounded back version. Inhale, raise the hands, sweep the hands up above the head, palms touch. Exhale, come to mountain pose, hands at the side, at the front of your mat. So we're not going to super flow today, but we will do some more standing postures. So start in mountain pose and interlace the hands behind the back and push the knuckles down. It's like we're trying to touch the floor with the knuckles. So this is the action that we need for the bridge, for the wheel, is drawing the shoulder blades together and down the spine. Like when we do the supported bridge, when we interlace the hands under the shoulders, under the back, this helps. It's the same thing. It's helping draw the shoulder blades together and down. So just press knuckles down, release the hands, but try to keep the shoulders back and down so the upper back muscles are working here. And we're going to take this into a balance. So try to keep this sense of the chest lifting. Tune into your left leg. So remember, for back bending, we need the stability in the legs. So spread the toes, firm the left thigh, and then see if you can pick up the right foot behind you with your right hand, and then take the left hand back as well. So we're trying to drop the right knee so it's in line with the left knee rather than pointing forward as best you can, and squeeze the heel in. So we're opening the front of the right thigh and the hip flexor here. Drop the tailbone and then lift the chest. So, you know, it could be too strong for your shoulders, but if you can, we kind of roll the shoulders back and down and lift the chest. If it feels not good in your shoulder girdle to do that, then just keep the, just minimize, don't do so much effort there. Stay here, or dancer's pose. Hold the top of the right foot with the right hand, thumb holding the big toe edge, and push the right foot into the right hand, left upper arm close to the ear, maybe tipping the weight forward, just for 2 or 3 breaths. Beautiful for opening the front of the right side of the chest. And then come back through, squeeze your heel to the buttock, and release. Great. And then just if you need to walk it out a little bit. So this balancing sequence is excellent preparation for back bending. It's strengthening the legs, it's strengthening the feet and the ankles, and it's really working with this chest opening and thigh opening. Okay, so same on the other side. Spread the right toes, firm the thigh, the right side, so you feel that stability, that foundational stability that we so need for back bending, and then bring the left heel to the bottom with the left hand. If you can, take the right hand back as well. And then just notice what your left knee is doing. Maybe it's poking forward. See if you can draw it back in line with the right knee. This is what really opens up the hip flexor as well as the thigh. You'll feel it more. And then you can just stay here. Again, if it's okay for your shoulders, there's a sense of lifting the chest, drawing it's like you're drawing the elbows back, like you're trying to squeeze a ball between the elbows behind you. But I know for some people, this doesn't feel good. So you can kind of just keep the shoulders forward a bit more, but still lifting the chest. And then optional, take it into dancer's pose. Pivot, swivel the back hand so you're resting the top of the foot on the palm, holding the big toe edge, push the foot into the hand. This is what opens now the left side of the chest, trying to keep the chest square to the front as best you can. And breathe into that left pectoral muscle. Come back through, squeezing heel to buttock, and release. So I deliberately kept us there for quite a while because building the strength and stability. Kick it out if you need. Okay, so let's just, back bends are also the wheel, it's also an inversion. So let's just get used to being upside down or inverted, but with a forward fold. So take the feet wide and the toes point forward. So again, we've got this inhale, we roll the shoulders back and down and lift the chest. This is often a cue in yoga. Just pause in this position for a moment, lifting the space behind the heart. Probably you've stuck the bum out a bit behind you. I always do, overarching the lower back. See if you can draw the tailbone back down without lifting, without losing that lift in the chest. And then exhale, forward fold. So we're bringing the head below the heart. Release the hands to the floor when you get to your deepest fold. Let the neck be long. And just focus on a few things here. Spread the toes and lift the inner arches. This is going to engage the inner seams of the leg. And you can even feel like you're squeezing a really long block or trying to draw the feet together without moving them. This is going to activate the inner seams of the legs and lift those inner arches. That's cue number one. Cue number two is connect to your core. Easier in forward folds. So hollow out the lower belly by drawing the lower belly up to the spine, lift on the pelvic floor. And then notice what your shoulders are doing. Possibly they're just dropping down towards the ears. So we again depress the shoulders. So when we're upside down, it feels like they're lifting. We're moving the shoulders back towards the waist, but actually we're depressing the shoulders. We're using those back muscles to move the shoulder blades down the spine together. Okay. So if you need to come up at this point, just slowly come up in your own time. Otherwise, we're just going to change the hand position, bringing the hands onto the lower back, interlacing the fingers and letting the hands come up and over for 2 or 3 more slow, deep breaths. So just opening that shoulder girdle area. Breathe all the way up into the upper back. And then on your next inhale, slowly come up, leading with the knuckles. It's like the knuckles, the hands bring you up, and we've been down for a while. So just take a moment to just let the blood go the other way, the normal way. And then we're going to turn the toes out. So we're going to stay wide-legged, but turn the toes out to the corners of the mat. We're just going to work with the shoulders in this deep squat. So we're strengthening the legs, but we're opening and strengthening the adductors. So the adductors are key for back bending. So, well, and the quads, just the whole leg. So we're going to drop the hips and try not to lean forward. Try to keep the back upright. And then we're going to take the hands in front of us and cross the left arm on top of the right, and either hold your opposite shoulder or wrap the forearms and the hands for Garudasana. Pressing the hands forward. Lifting the elbows in line with the shoulders. Breathe into the upper back. So now you really feel that space between the shoulder blades, that breadth, broadening. This is what we're looking for when we do the plank, this sense of the shoulder blades are broad and wide. And then release, open wide. And as you exhale, bring the right arm on top of the left. If you need to straighten your legs and come back into it, do. Otherwise, we're here for another 3 to 5 breaths. Sink the hips even lower if you can. Press those hands forward if you're in eagle arms or holding opposite shoulder. Great, and then unravel, open wide as you inhale, slowly straighten the legs. Well done. And if you need to, just bring the feet together for a moment. We're going to do another leg strengthening wide leg position in a moment with a shoulder variation. So we're going to do warrior two with optional cow face arms, gomakasana arms. So if you know your shoulders are tight, have a strap ready. So we'll go to the right first. So if you're going to use the strap, just have it just draped over the top of your right hand. So legs nice and wide, we're facing the long edge of the mat. Turn your left foot in, your right foot out without moving the hips face forward, and exhale to bend the right knee. And just check in with your right leg. The knee is above or behind the ankle, not in front. So we just pause in warrior one. These standing postures are great for building this strength and stability in our foundations, which we so need for the wheel. And also we can connect to the pelvic floor here. The legs are quite spread, but even here we can lift, we can feel that lift, we can draw the lower belly back. Now bring the right arm up close to the ear, drop the fingertips down the spine. Either just left fingertips pull up and push down on the front of the right elbow, or we come into gomakasana, taking the left hand behind us, holding the strap or finding the fingertip hook. So you may find your fingertips, you may use the strap. Optional opening of the side body by leaning back but keeping the hips facing forwards and the chest facing forwards. One more breath if you can. Strong work in the legs, I know. And then inhale, come up, release. If you need to bring the legs together for a moment, do. Otherwise, we're just going to come straight to the other side. So when you're ready, have your strap draped on the left hand this time. If you know you're going to need it or think you might need it, turn right foot in, left foot out, hips face forward. Inhale, stretch through the fingertips. Exhale, bend the left knee. Just do that little check-in. Make sure the knee's not in front of the ankle. Look forward over the middle left finger. So this is great, actually, for opening the chest and strengthening the arms. You know, you stay here for a few breaths, you're going to feel it in your arms. We're building arm strength and building leg strength. And then bring your left upper arm close to the left ear, drop fingertips down the spine. Take the finger hook on the front of the left elbow with the right hand if you wish, or right hand behind you. Wiggle the fingers up the spine. So may well be your tight side if you're right side dominant. Not necessarily though, but don't assume you're going to get the same grip on both sides. Optional leaning backwards, keeping hips and chest open to the side, the long edge of the mat. Couple more breaths if you can, and deliberately holding us here for a long time. And then at the end of your next exhale, straighten the left leg, turn back to the front, and just bring the feet together and just take a moment in mountain pose, Tadasana, but again, doing that shoulders up, back and down. This getting the mobility of the shoulders is hugely important for the wheel, and is what often prevents us from finding that posture. So just feeling the back muscles working, this is essential to open the chest. And as you stay here, maybe close the eyes and feel like you're lifting the chest up to meet the chin a little bit with the breath. So we also want to really focus on breath when we come into these deep back bends, because often we panic, compromise the breath. So just focus on some slow, deep Ujjayi breath if you know Ujjayi, otherwise just breathing through the nose, but feeling how the breath lifts and expands the chest. Right, okay, so we're going to come down onto our bellies again. So we're going to start to work into some stronger back bends, and there'll always be options, so don't worry, you're not going to have to do anything. Everything's an invitation. So we're going to flow down, or just lie down if you wish, meters on your belly. So come to the front of your mat if you're flowing. Sorry, I've kind of half off the screen. I'm going to inhale, raise the hands. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up, lengthen. Exhale, we're going to find the plank, and we're going to hold it for a breath or two again. Elbows down if you prefer. Doesn't really matter, we get the same work. But push the floor away. See, you can kind of see it on my back. And when I'm not pushing, I'm more here. And when I push, there's like a doming in the upper back. almost. Okay, and then knees down or off the mat, and slowly transition, keeping super strong in the legs as you lower yourself down. Okay, so just take a moment, just arrive on your back, because we're going to use the back muscles in a moment, so just have a little rest. And so we'll do 2 versions of locust, Shalabhasana. And the second one is really about toning the arms. Well, they both are, but especially the second one. Okay, so first of all, just classic lotus. Bring the forehead down, bring the hands to the side. So this is a back bend, but it's not a deep back bend, but it's a very active back bend. So we press the fingernails and the toenails down in the pubic bone. See if you can connect to your core before you come up. Have a sense of zipping up the front of the body, lifting on the pelvic floor, drawing the lower belly below the navel up towards the spine. So we want to try and keep that switched on as we come up. It's really tricky to keep the connection, but see if you can feel it even just a little bit as you lift up everything, the hands, the feet, the chest, the neck. Keep the gaze to the floor. You've probably lost core connection. See if you can bring it back, even if it's just through subtle awareness of Mula Bandha, or pelvic floor activation. And again, as I say, don't worry if you lose it. This is very normal, but we just keep trying. And one day you might be like, I get it, I've got it. And exhale, lower down, turn a cheek to the side, let the shoulders relax, let the core work, relax as well. Just release the belly into the floor. So you can repeat this classic locust, but I'm going to give you another option, which I find very effective for kind of toning the arms. It's like, especially the outer arms, the triceps, and we need all of the arm muscles for the wheel. So it's where we come up and we're pressing, like we do with the legs abducting. We're abducting the arms now. Abducting means bringing to the center line. So we're pressing actively the sides of the block with the arms outstretched as we come up. So you can see in my arms, I'm pressing here, and you can see how it's switching on the muscles. So, or it is harder. So feel free to do the other one. So hands by the side, or press your block hard in front of you, and then inhale, lift everything up. Try to keep the upper arms in line with the ear, and try to keep pressing the block. You're going to want to release that effort, but see if you can keep pressing it. You'll feel it in the arms. Maybe you can even connect to the core as well. It's a lot to ask, but maybe you can keep pressing the block if you're doing that version. Breathe, and then slowly come down. Take a rest, maybe bring the hands to the side, turn the cheek to the side, let the back relax, the shoulders relax. So I find that very effective for the arms, and it's like you want the arms to be at full extension. In fact, let's just do it one more time if you've got the energy. If you haven't, just rest or take the first variation, but otherwise repeat. We don't need to hold it for long, but I didn't really give that cue in the first one. So as well as pressing really hard, but also full extension. It's like I use this analogy of you're presenting the block to somebody in front of you. Okay, so just have one more go if you've got the juice. Lifting up when you're ready, pressing, and like full extension, like you're trying to give that block to somebody that's just out your reach, or you're resting, or you're doing the first variation, hands by the side. Full extension, and release, come down, turn the other cheek to the floor. Relax, feel how you can feel the arms have been working. Even if you just did the first variation, it still uses the arms if you stretch that hands backwards. So just relax for a moment. Okay, so we're going to move towards deeper back bends if we want to go there. So when you're ready, come back to the Sphinx. So come back to on the elbows underneath the shoulders or slightly in front. Forearms parallel, fingertips spreading. And again, just the same cues as before. So a really good cue is to press the pubic bone down. So you can kind of see as I do that, I'm pressing now. There's a slight shift. I feel my core and the lower back is less. So here, when I'm not pressing it, my lower back is more arched, and when I press, there's a slight flattening in the lower back. And this means we can connect to our core, so find, zip up the lower belly and activate the pelvic floor, draw up the pelvic floor. And it shows that you can feel it even in extension, even in a back bend. Okay, so stay here, or don't forget that work of drawing the shoulder blades back and down, or come higher, turn the hands out and press up to straight arms. And if you still want more, bring the hands in. Keep drawing the shoulders back and down. If you come into a deeper back bend, notice, did you lose that core connection? No worries if you did, but just observe that and see if you can bring it back. And then come down when you need, but final invitation is to bend the left knee and just turn your head to look over the left shoulder, see if you can see your left foot. If it feels too much of a contraction in the lower back, then skip this. Release the left knee down, left foot down, turn to face forward, bend the right knee, turn to look over your right shoulder, see if you can see your right foot, or it doesn't matter if you can't, but we just explore. Turn to face forward as you release the right knee down. Come down if you need, or finally just bend both knees. Both feet come up. It's quite a strong contraction in the lower back. If there's any more space that you can give, then you draw the hands further in and you drop the head back towards the feet. This is a strong back bend, not for everyone, but it's brilliant for it opening up the thighs. And then slowly lowering down wherever you got to with that. Just come down, take a moment to rest. Wobble the hips, or even windscreen wiper the legs. That can feel really nice to loosen the lower back. Taking the feet one way and then the other, the knees bent. And then while we're on the floor, tune into your body. There's an invitation for our first kind of peak back bend, which is the bow. Dhanurasana. So if you're feeling like a strong back bend is available, I'm going to give you that one. Otherwise, you could rest or you could return to the Sphinx or higher if you wish. Okay, but keep that awareness of core connection. If you're going for the bow, draw the heels in towards the buttocks and take the hands back to hold the front of the ankles. Up to you if you flex or point the feet. I like to flex. Try to keep the feet together or close to each other, and the knees as well. It's not going to, it means you can't come up as high, but it doesn't matter. Then push the ankles or the feet into the hands, and that draws the shoulders back. This is what we're looking for, this opening of the chest here by using the strength of the legs. Feel like you're squeezing a block between the thighs. Breathe fully into the collarbones, the chest. Strong opening for the shoulders, the chest, and the legs are working super hard, so we're building strength. Maybe even find that core connection. And then when you're ready to release, come down, turn a cheek to the side, windscreen wiper if you need, relax. And don't forget, this is a mixed ability class. If you feel any of these postures are beyond your body's current capacity, take one of the modifications or rest. Everything is allowed and okay, as long as you're listening to the body. Okay, so we're not going to do a huge counter pose because we're still in back bending mode. But let's give ourselves another opportunity to build upper body strength, and we'll just neutralize the spine. So cross the ankles and have the hands underneath the shoulders. Find your core connection by lifting the belly up towards the spine. So you almost feel like the belly lifting off the floor a little bit. Keep that sucking in and up as you push through the hands. It's like a reverse press up. And we can release the feet, but instead of coming into child's pose, we're just going to come to a neutral spine. So back to tabletop, hands and knees, and maybe just do a little cat-cow. Nothing too dramatic, but just finding that mobility, or even after back bendings, I love to take the hips in circles. So we're not doing a full, we will do a really comprehensive counter sequence at the end, but just let the back move a little bit between postures. Okay, and then come to kneel. So just come to a kneeling position. And we're going to just do a little bit more shoulder opening here. So if it's available, if kneeling's not for you, you can cross the legs as well, or whatever you need. See if you can bring the hands back. So options are, if it's available, reverse namaste. You wriggle the hands up the spine, press the palms together, and there's this rolling of the shoulders back and down, lifting the chest, trying to press the heel of the hands together. That is just not available for you. It's strong on the wrists. Then hold the opposite elbow or even the opposite wrist, or even holding a strap if you needed some other variation. But all of these variations help bring the shoulders back and lift the chest. Okay, so find your version. I'm just simply going to pause here. And again, focus on full breaths. Probably in the kneeling position, we possibly overarch the lower back. I usually do, so drop the tailbone to connect to the core. And then focus on your breath. Maybe take 3 more really full breaths all the way up into the collarbones. This is super important when we come into the deeper back bends. To just slow the breath down, relax and breathe fully. Then the body will open. And then at the end of your next exhale, just gently releasing whatever arm position you're in. If you need to just gently remobilize the wrists, just take some little wrist circles, maybe making a fist. And we'll do a very gentle twist again, just mobilizing the spine between back bends. So just take your right hand onto your left knee, left hand behind you, looking over the left shoulder. Nothing dramatic, just a gentle twist and full breaths. So nice, full, relaxed breaths. Unwind back to the center. Big inhale at center. Exhale, coming to the right. Left hand onto right thigh, right hand behind you. Don't worry if it doesn't touch the floor, just let it dangle. Look over your right shoulder. Drop the tailbone, keep connected to the core. Unwind, come back to the center. Okay, so moving into our next back bending sequence. So coming into camel sequence, and again, we don't have to go there. There's modifications. At this juncture, if you know you have bony knees or bony shins, you might want to just fold your entire mat in half, just to get extra padding. But make sure that the whole of your foot and shin and knee is on the same level. Don't be kind of only fold it in a little bit and have the knees higher than the ankles, if that makes sense. Okay, so that's why folding the whole mat's better. So we want the knees underneath the hips. If you are really working with your back bends, you could do this with the legs together. I sometimes do. It's much more challenging on the lower back, but probably for most of us, knees hip distance apart. And we're going to do 3 of these, and you can just, unless you don't have the energy, do as many as you want, but I'm going to invite 3. And you can do the first modification for all of them. So we're all going to do this one first. So bring the hands onto the hips, and it's up to you. You can have the thumbs either side of the sacrum, like I'm showing here, or possibly have the heel of the hands either side of the sacrum with the fingertips pointing down. It's stronger on the wrist, but in some ways more effective for opening the chest. And then we roll the shoulders back and down, lift the chest, and drop the tailbone. Dropping the tailbone helps us zip up the front of the body, connect to the core, lift the pelvic floor, and feel like you're squeezing a block between the thighs. In fact, maybe we'll do that on the second one. And press down through your anchor now is your knees, your shins, and the tops of your feet, your toenails. So it's like we actively press them down, feel the lift away. This is really important, the root to rise, the pressing down through the foundations. And then we push the hips forward and we lift the chest. So maybe just choose the hand position that's right for you. Draw those shoulders back, lift the chest, keep the chin tucked in, or if you feel safe to do so, you could look back. Now you're coming to a deeper back bend, but try not to just collapse in the lower back. Keep pressing down through the toenails. Feel extension in the spine. And then as you inhale, come up, head comes up last. And just for a moment, sit down. So option number 2, the same. And maybe just, you could do the same, but go deeper. So if you're feeling quite comfortable here, you can drop the head back and turn it more into moving towards camel, but still with the hands on the hips. This is an option, or just the kind of more slight one that we did first. And my invitation here is to do the same, but with the block between the thighs. Okay, so you might need to bring the knees and the feet a little bit closer in. So hands on the hips, push down, lift up, so lift the space behind the heart, roll those shoulders back and down, then take the hips forward and think about extension in the spine. So it's like we root down through the knees, we squeeze the block to help open the sacrum, and we extend through the spine, maybe dropping the head back. Squeeze that block. It's going to make you feel safer and more stable in your foundations. And then maybe you find you can go into a deeper back bend, feeling that safety. And then when you come up, inhale, come up, let the head come up last. Exhale, release. Down for a moment. If 2 is enough, you can just pause, take a little twist in kneeling. You can repeat either of those. I really like it with the block, actually. Or you can take camel. For those that want to go deeper. So remember, you can make it easier on the balls of the feet or full posture on the tops of the feet. I'm going to try camel with the block to my thighs. I'm not sure I've ever done this before, and probably have in years of yoga, but I can't remember it. But I'm pretty sure it's going to work because I really like that feeling. You choose. So either just repeat what we just did, or it's all the same principles with camel. We roll the shoulders back and down. We have to use the stomach muscles a little bit to come back to bring the hands to the feet. But once we've got the hands to the feet, we press down through the shins and the knees and the toenails, and we lift and we extend. And in this case, I've got the block, so I'm squeezing the block and then drop the head back. Lift the space behind the heart. And press down through the hands to help you lift the space behind the heart. Or you've got the hands on the hips. Loving the block. Okay, and when you're ready to come up, if you're all the way in camel, you have to kind of lead with the hips and the head comes up last. Everybody come up, come down. I didn't give you a cue about breathing, so I'll make sure I do that in when we go to our final back bending sequence. Time check, yeah, we're good. Okay, so again, we're not going to do a full counter pose yet, but once, as we did before, just come into a neutral spine. That probably your body's like gagging for a child's pose, but just know we're going to go there. We are going to go there. But instead, just do some cat-cows, or again, maybe just that intuitive, more circular movement, just to open up the fascia and ease the step back, or moving the hips side to side. It's a bit like when we do the windscreen wiper legs. Okay. And then when you're ready, we're going to come down onto our, actually we're going to do a little bit of core and then come down onto our backs, because I want us to keep this core focus. But we're not going to do the full boat. We're going to do the kind of baby boat with a particular focus. Okay, so we've got the knees bent and we've got on the toenails, but I'm squeezing the knees together. You could also use your block if you wish, but you don't need to, because you can also just press the inner knees together. But we want to have our focus of abduction. Keep the toes on the floor, squeeze the thighs together, draw the lower belly back to the spine and lift on the pelvic floor. And this is just going to be our core. Breathe as deeply as you can. Keep squeezing the block or the thighs towards each other. For the last few breaths, if you wish, just take the toes off, but we don't need to go into the full position here, because I want us to keep our focus in this like hinge of the body. Squeeze the block or squeeze the knees. Great. And then bring the feet down and see if you can just use core control to slowly lower yourself down. So you have to really keep the chin into the chest and place the vertebra from the lower back to the upper back, one at a time if possible. This is also a good counter for the back bend until we arrive on our backs. Wonderful. So just before we do anything, we're just going to neutralize the spine here. So just have the knees bent, just maybe have the hands on the lower thigh, so the heel of the hands just resting in the hip creases, and just gently give it a little push. Should feel quite good. Create space around the sacrum. I absolutely love doing this. It really stretches the fascia of the lower back, and then release and allow the sacrum to come down. Just breathe into your back. Your back's in a neutral spine position at the moment. Just enjoy that. If you want to do one more of those pushes, it's like you push forward and up slightly on the base of the thighs where they join the torso, and it kind of arches the lower back and stretches the sacral And then release, let the sacrum completely connect to the ground here. Just breathe into that. Let everything go. And so we're going to work towards our peak posture. We've kind of done 2 peak postures already, but this is really what the class was preparing for. And I really want our focus. I'm going to give you particular cues, but I really want us to focus on the breath and trying to keep core connection. So we're going to bring the heels in towards the buttocks. We're all going to do the supported bridge first, and then we'll do another one, and those that want to go into the wheel in that second one, or even we'll do 3 maybe, depending on time. So everybody start with the supported bridge. So before we go up, you've got your heels close to the buttock, you've more or less got heels out, toes in, so the feet are parallel. Really try to connect to the core here. So a good way to do it is press the sacrum down and feel how when you press the lower back, the lowest part of the back, just above the buttocks down, you feel the front body kind of activate. And we can also work with the block or the imaginary block. Squeezing the block is also another way to check that we're core connected, and maybe just Mula Bandha activation or pelvic floor lift contraction. So feel it before we go up into the back bend. Bring your hands down by your sides and just see for how long you can keep that connection. I probably wouldn't work with a block because it will affect how you come up, but still squeeze that imaginary block and just really hold your awareness in your core area. There might come a point where you just lose it. You just feel like it's just all gone floppy or stretched, but you might just feel the subtlest, still some kind of activation deep in the body, in the pelvic floor, in Mula Bandha, in the deepest core muscles of the abdominals. And you might not, but let that be your focus. Your other focus is squeezing the imaginary block. And then once we're in the final position, if you want to interlace the hands underneath the back, then we kind of do that rolling to one side. This is the drawing of the shoulders down and together that we've been practicing. And then focus on the breath. So for the last 2 or so breaths, just make the breaths as full and as relaxed as possible. Nice, easy, breezy, slow, full, expansive breaths. This signals to the body it's safe. So it starts to relax and release. And then when you're ready to come down, release the palms if you interlace and slowly wind the spine down. Maybe keeping that core connection right to the last moment. And just take a resting breath or so, maybe just moving the shoulders back, moving the feet forward, just so that you can really flatten or neutralize the spine. So we'll do 2 or 3 back bends. Okay, I'm going to leave it up to you to gauge. You can just repeat what we've just done 2 more times. You could also experiment with the block. It may help you keep that core connection, and it may not. I find it a bit distracting. Or you could come to the halfway house. Even if you're quite easy with the wheel, you could still do this. It's a really good practice. So for the halfway house to the wheel, the dhanurasana, we start with the heels by the buttocks, but we bring the hands underneath the shoulders and the elbows point up. For many of us, our shoulders are tight, so that means the hands are close to the head and the elbows are spreading. But ideally, we want the hands wide as the shoulders and the elbows pointing up. That's what we work towards. And then we see if we can press through the feet and come onto the crown of the head. And then we can maybe work with the positioning of the hands and the elbows a bit here, trying to have the forearms parallel, elbows pointing up as best we can, rather than hands pointing in, elbows wide. And then we can press through the feet, and it will roll to the weight towards the crown of the head, the forehead. And we can see if we can connect to our core, we can feel the strength in the legs, and we can do those full, deep, expansive breaths. So you'll feel the arms working very hard here. They are. You might want to push up, but see if you can just stay at the halfway house, or you're doing the supported bridge. And when you're ready to come out, press through the hands enough to lift the head and bring the chin to the chest, and then lower the back down. And again, just take a moment's rest. So even though I'm quite comfortable in the wheel, I often in my practice take some breaths in that halfway house, because I find it very good for strengthening the arms and the legs as well. It can be a very effective kind of prep. Okay, so number 3, if you've got the juice, if not, just stay in this neutral posture and we'll join you soon. And then either do the supported bridge or the halfway house, or for the wheel, again, hands underneath the shoulders, elbows point up. If you can't get your hands down, or your hands are close to your head and your elbows are very wide, you're probably not ready for the wheel yet. You've got to work to open the upper back and shoulders. And then you can either come via the halfway house or push straight up. But this is where we need the upper body strength. We have to press down actively through the hands. The arms need to be very strong, and the upper back and shoulders need to be very open. And the front body needs to be very open. And then if we really want to open into the posture, we've got to feel the foundation. So we press the feet down, we squeeze the invisible block, we try to relax the buttocks, at the same time as connecting to Mula Bandha or some kind of core activation. And then we feel safe to really open the upper body. So we can press through the feet, start to bring the weight towards the head, really open that chest cavity. Breathe as fully as you can. When you get to your peak posture, try to commit to at least 2 full breaths and really just try and relax, that you're in control. Don't go so far that you can't breathe fully. And just take full breaths. This is going to help you open into your back bends more than anything else. When you're ready to come down, the head's off the floor again, tuck the chin into the chest, slowly lower down with control if you're not already down. And that was our peak. We did it, whatever you did, whatever variation you did, well done. And then we listen to our body, we go to what's appropriate for us. And it's all the same journey. We're all on the same journey. It doesn't matter what the peak posture is. Okay, so we're going to use the last remaining minutes of the class to just really do the counter pose. So we're just starting with the neutral spine, sacral on the floor, just let the back relax. And then my favorite thing to do after a deep back bend or any back bend on my back is to stretch the legs up into the air, stretch the arms overhead. So it's like downward dog on your back, flex the feet, toes to the shin. And what this does is just open the back body really fully, like we do in downward dog, before we counter pose. So just take a couple more breaths here, pushing up and out through the heels, reaching back through the fingertips. Like we feel the space returning to the back body, and then bend the knees into the chest, bring the hands forward, interlace the hands around the front of the shins or hold the back of the knees. I'm just going to take between 5 to 10, just really nice, slow, deep breaths. We don't have to use the arm muscles here, just let gravity draw the knees in, breathe into the lower back. And let the heart rate settle, the mind settle. Notice how the back bending makes you feel. Some people it makes them feel euphoric and happy, and others it brings up a lot of fear, maybe anger, frustration if you feel restricted, or you feel you should be doing something better, or whatever stories you've got going on. Just notice what it brings up for you. Everything is accepted. Okay, we're just observing, breathing it all through. And we're going to take a couple of different twists and then finish with another symmetrical pose. So first of all, single leg twist. Extend your right leg down the mat and hug that left knee into the chest. Bit of tight squeeze for a moment. And then we're going to use the right hand to draw the left knee across the body. Left foot can rest on the right thigh if you wish. Or if you've got a bolster or a block handy, you might just want to rest that left foot on something if it doesn't touch the floor. And spiral your spine, so look over your left shoulder, your left arm's outstretched in line with the shoulder. And we start to take releasing breaths here. So these kind of supine twists are great to release the spine after deep back bending. We use the breath. really relax the belly now. You can let go of core control. Except when we come back to the center, so starting to roll back to the center, you might want to just engage with that core connection just a little bit as you roll back so that we don't tweak the back when it's in a vulnerable position. And then make sure you're centrally aligned and swap sides. So draw your right knee in, just give it a squeeze for a moment, extending out through the left foot. And then we're going to use the left hand to draw the right knee across the body. Again, right foot can rest on left thigh if that's comfortable for you. Keep the right arm outstretched in line with the shoulder. Look over the right shoulder. Support your right leg on a block if you need. I've got a block underneath my inner knee here, inner thigh. And release with the breath. Relax the belly. Belly breathe. Relax the jaw, the face. And then at the end of your next exhale, just draw the navel in a little bit, roll back to the center. Just square off the feet. Just need to do a time check to give us, I think time has run away with us. So hopefully that was enough of a twist, and we're going to come into happy baby or knees to chest again if you wish. If you've got the luxury of extra time, you might want to do another twist with both knees stacked. That's what I was going to do, but we're almost out of time, so I want to make sure we have a good shavasana. So happy baby or knees to the chest. Breathing into the lower back. For the last kind of 10 minutes is all in the opposite back bending, kind of flexion the other way, opening the lower back. If you're in happy baby, you might just want to bring the knees together one last time. And I recommend just lifting the head up to meet the knees so we get a really strong counter posture, really strong contraction, squeezing the head to the knees. So we really open the back, and then Shavasana. So because of the nature of today's class, you might feel a little bit like you're not quite ready to come straight into Shavasana. So you could take a bolster, you could put a bolster under the knees. I don't have one with me. Yes, I do. It's in the corner, but imagine I've got a bolster under my knees, or you could just have the knees bent for the first minute and then straighten the legs. Or if you're still really feeling like you've not had enough of a counter stretch, again, I'm just quickly showing you here, you could do the double knee twist and then another knees to the chest. Okay, so I really don't want to cut you short on the counter sequence. So if you're not ready for Shavasana, just honor that. But if you are, maybe take the bolster option today and then just let go. Again, just noticing what the class has brought up for you, just for a moment, just breathing that through, just observing, and then just let it all go. Let the body release its effort, its tension, it's worked hard. Let the belly soften, all those internal core muscles soften. Let the pelvic floor release and relax. The whole hinge of the body feels soft and expansive. Let the legs that have worked so hard be heavy and relaxed. The big thigh muscles releasing, relaxing, calf muscles. And the feet and the ankles work really hard in the wheel. Just let the feet relax. And then the upper back, this area we've really opened and strengthened. If you just feel the upper back muscles releasing the shoulder blades heavily into the floor. And the same with the neck and the shoulders and the arms. The arms are worked hard. Just let the arms be heavy and relaxed. And then the face and the jaw. Relax, release. And just lose any breath control. Just let the breath be natural. And just rest in heaviness for another minute. Stillness. And then I am conscious that with backbending classes, sometimes it takes a while to discharge the energy. So if you're not ready to move, feel free. If you have the time, stay lying down for as long as you need. You will know. But if you feel ready to close the class with me, and just in your own time, just start to deepen the breath, start to bring movement back, fingers, toes. Give yourself the space you need if you need longer. And then you're closing with me gradually. After any stretches you need, just returning to seated. And just be seated with a neutral spine for a moment. Maybe just closing by bringing the palms together and just sending gratitude inwards to yourself, to your amazing body, your spine, and outwards to anything for which you feel grateful for. And you don't even need to specifically name anything, just gratitude for life. And then when you feel ready, open the eyes if they're closed. Thank you for sharing practice. Namaste. As always, a recording will be available, so just drop me a message and let me know if you want it, and I'll see you soon.